What is up everybody, I'm Fox at Foxy Games UK, your regular aggregate source of news, rumour and video game discussion. Casual and core gamers interested in the latest game news and rumour, with an emphasis on PlayStation but spanning a variety of platforms. Follow me via Twitter at FoxyGames_UK. All relevant links can be found in this video's description. So in our first news talking point, former Xbox PlayStation boss Phil Harrison has suggested that more games should focus on social issues and storytelling. Okay, that's all fine and dandy, but social issues in games feels like we're losing the ability to escapism from the realities of life. I and many like me play games to get away from everyday issues. I for one don't need to be bombarded or have a constant reminder of just how crappy the state of the world is in every time I turn on a games console. So does Phil Harrison want games to project everyday issues that revolve around SJW'S, the LGBT community, race, gender, religion, etc. because that's what many of us wish to escape from. Of course, it would be wise to not prejudge the man until we get a better insight into what he actually means, but speaking to GamesIndustry.biz at the recent Game Lab conference, Harrison compared the last 40 years of video game evolution to the first 40 years of non-silent films and found the medium lacking in telling rich, deep stories to old, young, male and females. Video games are not evolving at the same rate in terms of our rich storytelling and our rich characters. Now, with the proliferation of gaming in recent years thanks to the explosion in mobile, Harrison believes that developers should be trying to leverage that reach to do more than tell bombastic stories. Here's a quote: "Where are our equivalent of protest songs? That's a fun topic to think about. Where are the games that really delve into social issues?" Despite seeming discontent with the current state of the industry, Harrison prophesizes a golden age of gaming thanks to the democratization of platforms and democratization of technology to make content, which will empower more creators and writers to generate thoughtful content and spread news idea within gaming, similar to the way that Netflix and YouTube have allowed the development of truly independent entertainment for television. Now, the full interview goes into details about how mobile casual gaming and the Nintendo Switch paved the way for this perceived golden age, as well as the way that the industry has undergone fundamental structural shifts since the launch of the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 in the mid-2000s. Personally, I think we should gaming is an escapism. You know, everywhere you go there's issues, social issues, issues of injustice, everywhere you go. I mean, the last place you really want to find this stuff is when you want to just escape from all that, come over and play a game. Most people just want to veg out, play a game sometimes. They don't want all this stuff just thrusted upon them. I mean, it's utterly depressing every time you turn on your entertainment box to just veg out and chill out, and you've had a long day at work, you know, you've already seen all the crisis in the news online. The last place you want it is when you just want to, have some escapism and play a game of fantasy, take on a role. I don't know what Phil Harrison is alluding to here, but it does seem to me that if we take this route where every form of entertainment that we indulge in reminds us of everyday issues, then human beings would just be living in a constant state of depression. That's all it's going to do. Nothing positive, completely negative. There are other outlets to deal with these issues. Gaming should not be one of them. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Moving on, I just wanted to set the record straight about how I report news and source article/educated opinion pieces, my position regarding game news and coverage, etc. So the loudest vocal section of the game community are somewhat mimicking the current political arena, in that any news unfavorable to any particular group is either deemed as fake news constructed by raging fanboys where there is an agenda, or where deniability just won't fly. So the not so positive news is often glossed over and explained away. Now, some of you may recognize this behavior as damage controlling. I expect no different here, even though this news is out there and is being picked up by some reputable and some not so reputable news outlets. However, just because we may not align with the origin of a particular source doesn't make it untrue. And one such article or news story is sure to irritate the more sensitive members of the game community, but that's life. you can't get bent out of shape every time you read or hear something that is immediately unfavorable to whatever platform or company you have decided to pledge your undying allegiance to. People have to appreciate that the Xbox brand has had the most negativity or undesirable attention this generation. I mean, around this time last year, since its launch, a full 4 to 5 years, it would have been the PS3 getting criticized by the mainstream media and gamers alike. Sony could have screwed up royally with the PS4, and all of these sour grapes will be coming from that community. It just so happens that Sony have mostly made all of the right moves this gen. So we need to quit attempting to hold every news outlet and gamers on competing platforms accountable for the poor decision making made by any given console manufacturer. It is not the media nor the consumer who actually holds the power to make decisions. So how can they be held accountable or dismissed as a fanboy service? It makes no sense, and nor should it. So with that being said, the article is aptly named "This Lack of Xbox Exclusives is a Bad Decision by Microsoft." Microsoft have been lacking in exclusives while Sony is dominating the industry from all directions that everyone could have imagined. The lack of Xbox exclusives will not change soon, according to an industry insider under the NeoGAF username Matt. I know, some random dude, but hey, it's fair game, it's news, it's out there. Well-known sites reporting on it, The Know, and many other sites. So Matt's statement follows. Here's a quote. "Microsoft is not meaningfully increasing their investments in or focus on first party. That could change. I would love for that to change, but it hasn't." Now, it seems that Microsoft is not in any way focusing on new IPs relatively soon, aside from Sea of Thieves. If this is truly accurate, well, you know how the internet can spur out a lot of these misleading details, but it does actually show that Microsoft is not investing in their first party studios. We don't get to see any new first party IPs from their first party studios, and all we get are simply sequels to the usual Gears, Forza and Halo. If you take the likes of Cuphead, Recall, Crackdown 3, Ori, State of Decay 2 as first party exclusives, they're not literally first party exclusives, as Microsoft made deals with these studios to make their games solely exclusive to Microsoft and then publish them. Let's use the proper term, third party Microsoft exclusives. This is an awfully terrible strategy that Microsoft is taking. With the launch of their mid-generation Xbox One X relatively closing in, what can this mid-gen upgrade offer aside from first-party sequels, 4K horsepower and ultra high definition Blu-ray playback, and third-party titles? Well, nothing. Microsoft is too reliant on third-party developers to make the games for them. Instead of molding their own first-party teams, acquiring other studios to have that diversity Sony has, they would rather focus more on third-party content and being the best, let's say, medium to play that third-party content. It's not a bad thing to do in itself, but it didn't do well for them if we look into the statistics and the game's quality. Now, even if the original Xbox One is inferior to the PS4, irrelevant. If it only offered what the PS4 did in terms of exclusives, then it would have also sold fairly well. The existing library that Microsoft has is respectable, but it does get too old too quickly. The spark just isn't there anymore if a sequel of Halo or Gears will be announced. The level of excitement has been drained, and this is something that Microsoft should remedy. The cancellation of Scalebound has still scarred many a gamer. Most were waiting for that big Xbox third-party exclusive, but it seems that we get more cancellations than delays, which the latter is actually the lesser evil. Project Spark axed, Fable Legends axed, and Scalebound axed. So I don't know, Microsoft have a lot of work to do. I know Phil Spencer's intimated there are games that he didn't want to make, CGI trailers for because there's some ways off. But, you got to ask yourself, where's the continuity? Why are you waiting 3 years for games like the console just launched? You'd expect the Nintendo Switch to be applying that school of thought. Microsoft have had 3 years, so there should be consistent game release after consistent game release. There shouldn't be any gaps, to be honest. We shouldn't be treating the Xbox One and its exclusives, oh, they're coming 2 to 3 years from now. That is the talk of a new console. not a console that's been on the market over 3 years. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Moving on. Now, the PlayStation 4 may be outpacing the PlayStation 2 when it comes to units sold. With the regular updates to smartphones and tablets changing mindsets, Sony Interactive Entertainment Europe president Jim Ryan doesn't think the PS4 or any other console will repeat the same 13-year life cycle. In an E3 2017 interview with The Edge magazine that was published in their September 2017 issue via WCCF Tech, Ryan was asked if there might be further PS4 Pro / Xbox One X type hardware refreshes this console generation, to which he replied, "It's a very interesting question. The cultural phenomenon of regular updates to smartphones and tablets is without question perhaps subliminally colouring mindsets, and the days of the 13-year PlayStation 2 life cycle will almost certainly never repeat themselves. But equally, a platform is a very delicate ecosystem, and if that platform is to succeed, you've got to give those who make content for it the chance to recoup on it, and at the end of the day, like it or not, these are businesses." We struck, and Microsoft has as well, a good balance of innovation within the confines of the platform. Also, services which operate agnostically of particular hardware like PlayStation Now, for example, are something you're going to see more of. I think we're only 6 months into the PlayStation 4 Pro and it's too early to tell. The Xbox One X hasn't even launched yet. I don't know if this is the way forward or not. Back in 2016, Shuei Yoshida said the PS4's life cycle wouldn't be shortened by the PS4 Pro, and back in 2014, Andrew House said that he hopes the PS4's life cycle is longer than the PS3's, but he wasn't sure if it would match the PlayStation 2. So do you think we'll see another PS4 refresh before we see the PS5? I certainly think not. What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments. And finally, Microsoft executive has said they are working to improve the Xbox One X's UI and confirms third-party webcam support and more. Now, we are a ways off from the Xbox One X, but Microsoft is doing its best to promote the sheer functionality and features that the console will ship with. Xbox Director of Program Management Mike Ybarra noted on Twitter that he can't wait for the console's release since it will have, here's a quote, "power and capability, and can be fan-driven while supporting cross-network and being Game Pass ready." It's worth noting that the cross-network functionality is likely in reference to the cross-platform play between the Xbox One X, Xbox One and Windows 10 PC. However, when quizzed about the Xbox One X getting a new UI, one that provides a speed boost of sorts, Ybarra said that the company is always working to improve it. He also addressed the fact that some games like Fortnite don't support cross-platform saving, allowing players to carry progress back and forth, by saying that it's a developer's choice. For streamers, there's some good news, as Xbox boss Phil Spencer told Ybarra that USB is coming, and that includes webcams. We already know that the console ships with USB ports, but will it support third-party webcams right out of the box, or will that be later? If so, how long? And for those who install Xbox One games from an external hard drive onto the Xbox One X, the games will support plug and play. Ybarra noted that you may have an update to take some of those games depending on the game plug and play, but that update could be in reference to certain games receiving patches for the Xbox One X support, like Gears of War 4 and Halo 5 Guardians. Now, the Xbox One X releases on November 7 worldwide for $499, or the respective currency in those regions. It will be open for pre-orders fairly soon, as Phil Spencer has intimated, but be sure to leave your thoughts in the video comments. Which brings us to the end of another video. As usual, if you found any of the information in this video at all useful, go ahead and hit the like button, and if you haven't already, subscribe and share the video. You can also help us grow by supporting us via Patreon. Starting from just $1, you'll find the link in this video's description. And always remember, play games, not corporations. Thanks for watching, everybody.